That's right, folks. Another episode of the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Sunday. It's the Sunday Live Start Sit Show. We got 2 hours straight answering your start sit questions, bringing injury updates, weather updates, everything you need to start your lineups starting right now on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel.
Good morning and welcome back to the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. I am your host, Sky Guasco. You can find me on Twitter at Sky Guasco, SkyGuasco. Joined by the Quad Box. We got Matty Styles next to me here. We got Styles08, Bob Lamarco in the bottom there, Bobby Lamarco, and of course Derek _Favret as well. Happy post-Thanksgiving, everybody. We all hope that everybody had a warm, delicious couple of meals, some pleasant time with family, safe travels. I'm still actually down with my family as well, so I'll be heading home shortly. But everybody out on the road there dealing with weather around the country and crazy drivers and grumpiness and maybe a hangover from a little extra tryptophan. Make sure you drive extra safely. Hope you've enjoyed a long weekend of football, folks. 3 games per usual on Thursday. We had the Friday game, of course, as well. Then we had a bunch of college football for those of you that appreciate Frosh and JV football. And, of course, today we finish it up. So no bye weeks this week, which is great. We got the whole rest of a slate, but we've already got 8 teams behind us. So hopefully your team is in good position already this week. I've built up a handful of leads in a couple of fantasy leagues, and I'm also behind in a few leagues because we've had so many players play already. Per usual here on the program, we're going to get through all of your questions, all of your start-sit questions for Week 12. Make sure you jump in the chat here. We got a handful of you. I see Daniel and Cody and Isaac and Cosmo and Ronald and Jonathan already in the chat. We're going to get to all of your questions here in just a few minutes. Before we do that, we're going to go around the horn here quick. And, Maddie, I want to check in with you and see one thing that either has already gone down for you, good or bad, over the 4 games that have already happened this weekend, and one thing you're looking forward to this weekend to keep you alive for that hunt in the playoffs. Good morning, and let's get this rolling here.
Good morning. Detroit Lions will always be irrelevant. On to you, Derek.
Man, stab right off the bat. Jeez.
That's brutal. Brutal way to start. No.
Well, figure we just get right after it. Let's start.
Just jump right to the chase, huh? No,
Yeah.
No appetizers, just right
No,
into
we'll start with dessert. Yep. Pecan pie for the Lions. Oh, and by the way, did you notice that the rumor is that the network that showed that game had the turkey skin burnt in with their logo. So that's why the Packers players did not get the turkey legs, because they couldn't show the turkey on TV.
No, nice, because it was already predestined.
It was predestined that Savage and his boys were going to feast on Green Bay, and that did not happen. So Jordan Love and Rashawn Gary are both owed turkey legs, in my opinion.
Nice. The script was broken once again. Derek, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
We flipped the script.
Nice.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking for the Falcons just to take off the governor on Bijan and just let him run. I would like that for one of my teams, but just overall as a fan, I want to see Bijan unleashed, and I think I'm going to see that today versus the Saints.
Love that. Falcons are hosting the Saints, and they got each other coming up later on as well.
Someone's
just mute
echoing
up.
Here.
Can't be me. I'm in headphones. Bob, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
I got to tell you, I couldn't be more annoyed about Jalen Waddle ever. I sacrificed myself for you, Matt. God bless you. Glad he did well for you. But here's an interesting nugget. All right. So heading into this week, the Jets are the toughest out wide matchup according to our metric, right? Jalen Warren had 4 catches for 73 yards in the slot this week. Interesting. He had 130 yards all season in the slot. He had 73 against the Jets. Now, he only ran 8 routes, but I thought that was interesting for his rest of season. They did feature him more, schemed him open, but the other thing was the squeaky wheel. Hours before the game, they talked about Jalen Warren was just like, yeah, I guess I'm just there when Tyreek Hill can't. When he's not available, I'll get my looks. And then sure enough, he's featured more. So The squeaky wheel, my squeaky wheel call of the day, Stephon Diggs. Put him in your DFS lineups, folks. He squeaked 2 bad games in a row. He gets the Eagles today. He's going to go off.
Yeah, massive one up in Philly. Absolutely. The Bills have been reeling, unfortunately, for the last month. Philly needs a tune-up game quickly before they go against the 49ers next week in a NFC championship preview, potentially, assuming the Packers don't make a run quick here. So we'll see what happens. But let me get this back going on here. Just one seckie. There he is. All right.
And Bob, I believe Bob meant Jalen Waddle. He said Waddle
he
at the
did.
beginning, but then did a whole bunch of Jalen Warren drops. So Bob, you meant Waddle.
Oh, Jalen Waddle. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Jalen Waddle. Yeah, Jalen Warren's going to go bananas today. I can't wait.
We knew who you're talking about, Bob. We've been wrestling this behind the scenes with you for about a month and a half. So we appreciate you sacrificing yourself for the benefit of the fantasy community and benching Warren or Waddle finally and letting him go off. So thank you. And hopefully you can bench Derrick Henry so we can actually get a game from him down the stretch. We would all much appreciate that, of course, as well. All right, folks, let's get into it here. Daniel, we see you in the chat here. Cody, Cosmo, Isaac, Ronald, Jonathan, let's get after it. One more time, please make sure to drop your half PPR, full PPR, super flex questions, tight end premium, trade questions, any of that. If anybody has any trade questions left, let us know. We had a long tribute on Tuesday for our final trades. I have 1 or 2 more weeks for trades in some of my leagues that go into December. I prefer it that way, but those stock leagues are generally done here. So let us know how you're feeling about that. And if somehow you are not yet, make sure to subscribe here to the Razzball Fantasy Football YouTube show. Just hit that bell below so you don't miss any of our updates. Leave a comment below on your must-have player to pop off and maybe something that happened for you, good or bad, over Thursday and Friday. And, of course, make sure to download the podcast anywhere you listen to the Razzball and any of your podcasts in general. You can get it on the go. I travel a lot. As you can see, every week on this show, I pretty much have a different background. I'm somewhere else, but I always have my Razzball podcast ready to go on drives, on walks, what have you. So make sure you download that for free as well and leave a rate and review. We much appreciate it there. And you can find everything at Razzball Fantasy NFL on Twitter. And, of course, all of our articles for free at football.razzball.com. All right, without any further ado, let's rock and roll. Daniel, you're up first this morning, bud. PPR, pick 3, Mixon, Rachaad White, who is trending in the right direction, was questionable all week long, but looks like he is ready to go. Of course, Bob will have a full injury breakdown later on at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. So stick around for a full breakdown before our kickoffs this morning here. But we got Rachaad White trending in the right direction, Mixon, Jalen Warren, and Chris Olave. We're going to go Matt, Derek, Bob today. And Matt, I believe you had some breaking news out of Pittsburgh. You want to kick this one off?
We've got a question coming up with a couple Pittsburgh guys. I'll save it for Daniel's second question. If you're good with that.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. PPR, I'm probably sitting Olave today. And the reason is that it looks like Derek Carr has been removed from the injury report, which moves Kamara up and Olave down based on what we've seen this year. So I don't love Mixon with a rookie quarterback starting against, I believe it's Pittsburgh, at Pittsburgh. Is that correct? I think it is. So I don't love Mixon, but I love White and I love Warren. So I think I'm going to go with volume for Mixon over potential upside for Olave. If Jameis was the quarterback, I'd probably go Olave, but I'm going to steer clear.
Matchup is correct. They're playing in Cincinnati, though. So it's Bungles and Steelers in Cincinnati. Yes. Derek?
And I like Mixon even more than I did 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pass. I agree with Matt on Olave, but I'm going to pass on Mixon with the new quarterback. I really think that just allows Pittsburgh to focus there and force the new quarterback to try to beat them. So I'm actually going to go Rachaad White. Colts give up the 7th most fantasy points to running backs, and this is a PPR, and we know Rachaad White is active in the passing game. So I will go with Rachaad White. I know he came on the injury report late, but I think that was all precautionary. Again, I'll defer to Bob. for his true analysis, but I don't have any concerns with Rachaad White whatsoever, and I'm going with him out of these four.
We need to pick
this is
three, Derek.
it's
So
pick
who are you
three.
sitting?
Essentially,
Oh.
sit one.
Yeah, so I'm sitting Olave.
Okay, sorry. Yep, Sid Olave. Yep, misread that.
Yes. Yeah, same. I'd like the Jalen Warren matchup. The other thing with Mixon, too, is like I think they're going to have to run the ball 20 times with him today. They're not going to, but it's going to probably mirror what we saw last week with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. They had their backup quarterback, Jerome Ford, luckily found the end zone in one of the drives, and he got himself a solid fantasy day. I think you're probably going to see something similar with Mixon, but Mixon's the every down back. Got 12 carries. Ford got 12 carries last week. So I guarantee you Mixon's probably going to be close to 20 this week. So I'm going to stick with Mixon, Rachaad White, Warren as well, and sitting Olave.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to stick with the guys here. We're going to open up the show with a quadfecta, which I appreciate. Bob's totally right. I mean, as far as opportunity share for running backs, Joe Mixon is the only running back ahead of Christian McCaffrey. They don't run as many plays in Cincinnati as the 49ers do, so McCaffrey gets more opportunity overall. But of the plays that they run, there's no one else taking carries this year. Samaje Perine gone, obviously, so there just isn't other people taking snaps there from Joe Mixon. So I don't love this offense either, but these games with these two quarterbacks probably going to be a ground and pound, ugly, like 10-7 type of game, probably in the cold. So I'm going to take Joe Mixon there, and I will sit Olave, unfortunately, as well. All right, good kickoff, boys. We got a 4-pack right off the bat. Love to see that. Cody Davis, good morning, bud. Josh Jacobs or Kyren Williams, full PPR. Kyren Williams coming off the bench. He's been out for about a month or so with an injury, came back off the IR. We're looking at Josh Jacobs versus the Chefs or Kyren Williams at Arizona Cardinals. Matt?
Smart money says probably Kyren is the better play, but we know Antonio Pierce has said that he's going to funnel everything through Jacobs and Devontae Adams. So back to another volume play. I think I prefer Jacobs. I think that the Rams are going to throw today. Kupp is off the injury report. Puka's off the injury report. Stafford's going to chuck the ball. So not that I love it as much as Sky does, but I'm going to start Jacobs today.
Yeah, Chiefs defensive line is no joke, and I do agree with Matt. I think volume for Jacobs is going to be part of the playlist today if they're going to want to keep the Kansas City offense off the field. So running the ball with Jacobs, so volume is going to be there. However, for me, I'm going with Kyren Williams. He's a more dynamic player. The Rams cleared the way for him. The practice reports this week showing he's a full go. So I really like to see Kyren Williams and just come right out and run and catch the ball right up the Cardinals defense, which is very forgiving for running backs. So I'm going Kyren Williams.
Kyren Williams for me as well. Last time, remember that game was the game where he went 20 carries, 158 yards, and a touchdown. But that was the game where they didn't run the ball in the first half. And then they're like, let's try this again. And they all that came in the second half. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake twice. And the matchup definitely leans Kyren Williams here. So I'm going to go Kyren Williams.
Yeah, I agree as well. You all know how I feel about Josh Jacobs, but trying to put that aside, the Chiefs defense is very good on the defensive line. The secondary is also very good. I'm going to fade Devontae Adams today. Maybe he'll come up, maybe he won't, but I don't love his matchup either. I know, but I don't love that at all. Kyren Williams, even before they played Arizona week 6, before that, Philly shut him down. Philly shuts everybody down. Other than that, he had 103 and 2. He scored 2 touchdowns in 3 different games. He's only played in 5.5 games, essentially. He's been a top 10 PPR running back in 4 of the 6 games he played. And the 2 matchups he didn't, he played great defenses. So I like this matchup a lot for Kyren Williams and the Rams overall. So I'm going to go Kyren Williams over Josh Jacobs quite significantly there in PPR. Daniel, we got a second question here. We got half PPR this time, McBride or Kincaid. We have this one a lot, guys. So McBride and Kincaid are kind of apples to apples, if you will. It should be Kincaid easy peasy in that Bills offense, Josh Allen, no Dawson Knox, blah, blah, blah. but it's been kind of hit or miss in that offense, and we're expecting the big game maybe from Squeaky Diggs today. On the other side, Zach Ertz, right, could be coming off of IR, could be playing healthy soon, and both of these guys were picked up most likely off of waivers. So a lot of teams have both of them. We need to start one. Last week we suggested you start one and put the other in your flex. Didn't work out so much on both sides, but it is a possibility if you're struggling. However, again, we don't have any teams on bye. So hopefully you're running with the full roster regardless of what you've got after those 8 teams had played. Kincaid, McBride, also whoever doesn't get picked up from Deontay, Johnson, and Warren in the flex. So, Matt, you said you wanted to kind of hold some Pittsburgh news until this question. Why don't you go ahead and kick it off?
Full PPR, I might lean McBride ever so slightly, but I'm going to go Kincaid. I think that the Bills are going to have to throw because they're not going to be able to run. So I don't care if Josh Allen throws 4 interceptions. He's still going to chuck the ball probably upwards of 45 to 50 times today, which I know is a high number. But that means to me it's going to be Diggs and Kincaid, maybe Shakir sprinkled in there. There won't be much Gabe Davis because Gabe Davis does Gabe Davis things on Sunday, which is normally akin to letting your fantasy lineup down. So I like Kincaid over McBride. I like Kincaid to get in the end zone. The Pittsburgh news just came out of Ian Rappaport, so take it with a grain of salt. This is not me telling you I know this will happen. It's based on his insider trading info that with the release of Matt Canada, shout out to Chris Boswell for getting him fired. They are going to increase the targets to George Pickens, and they're going to significantly increase the carries or touches, they said, to Jaylen Warren. So give me McBride on the first half of the question and give me Jaylen Warren in the flex for the second part of the question.
D?
Yeah, for me, both of these tight ends are pretty similar. Like you said, Sky, Rams and Eagles giving up about the same to the tight ends. So there's really no better or worse matchup there to help us here. But so me, it's more of a gut feel, and I just think the Kyler to McBride connection is a little stronger there, a little more likely. So I'm going McBride over the 2. I don't mind Kincaid at all, but again, I just like McBride a little better. And then I'm going to start Warren in the flex as well. I mean, Pittsburgh, we don't know what they were doing. I mean, we've known all along that he was the feature back in waiting, and now that they've cleared out probably the barrier to that, I kind of agree with the news Matt just came out that we should expect more Warren both in the running and the passing game. So I like taking a shot at Warren in the flex as well. So I'll agree with what Matt said.
Derek, is there any chance of rain or anything like that in Philadelphia today?
There is light drizzle increasing throughout the game, but it's not really expected to make a big difference overall. It'll be wet. It'll be wet, right, but shouldn't affect the game too much. Okay.
I know our slot versus wide tool is featured for wide receivers, but the Philadelphia Eagles have been getting killed in the slot, and the guy who gets the most targets from the slot is Kincaid for the Bills, even though Shakir's come on as of late, but it's still Kincaid. So I'm going to go Kincaid there. The other thing I want to say, though, is Mike Sullivan, who's now the play caller for the Steelers, is legit. He's a good play caller, longtime Giants staffer. He was then the OC for Eli for 2 seasons. 1 season when they had Eli, he features his wide receivers. Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard had his best season. Odell had a monster year. Then remember Josh Freeman? Josh Freeman had like 1 good year. It was with Mike Sullivan. He featured Vincent Jackson and Tampa Bay Mike Williams. He features those guys, and I think Pickens and Deontay fit perfectly with that. But I like Jaylen Warren a lot today. I'm betting on Jaylen Warren to have a big day, so I'm going to go Jaylen Warren as well. But Mike Sullivan, loving it. Bye, Matt Canada. Super excited for the Steelers skill position group here.
Man, how about the Josh Freeman drop? I think he played for the Niners about 4 different times, but never actually played for the Niners. You know what I mean? One of those guys. And shouts out to our boy Vincent Jackson. Rest in peace. I'm going to go here with Kincaid by a nose. looking at the last 4 games since McBride really came on, he was the tight end 1, 2, 32. And so obviously he has the massive ceiling, but Kincaid has just basically been tight end 5 to 8 every single week. So I like the consistency, and I do think the Bills and Eagles have a nice kind of up and down matchup there a little bit. I think that this Arizona and Rams game can turn into a kind of a ground and pound. So I'm going to go with Kincaid there by a nose, and then Jalen Warren needs to be in your lineup, absolutely. All right, let's move on to Isaac here. What's up, Razzball? Pick 2 in full PPR: Nico Collins, Adam Thielen, Gus Edwards. Maddie.
Rounds out, so give me Nico Collins. Thielen has been a PPR machine. Give me him, and I'm going to continue to fade Gus Edwards until I'm correct.
Yeah, I want Nico as well. I want pretty much any piece, certainly in the wide receivers of the Texans on that side versus the Jaguars today. So, yeah, give me Nico there. I'm actually going to defer, or not defer, but I'm gonna go away from Matt, and I'm going to go with Gus against the Chargers. Chargers are pretty friendly. Have been pretty friendly all year versus running backs, and Gus just seems to find the end zone. So he is. I agree. He is more of a touchdown dependent play. Rather than, racking up the yards. But he's on a roll. Ravens are on a roll. They're playing the Chargers tonight. I like Gus to get in the end zone and give you at least 12 PPR points.
Yeah, I think since it's full PPR, I'm going to go Nico and Thielen. I think Thielen's a safer bet. We talked a little bit about this on our Friday show. Yes, the slot matchup isn't good for Adam Thielen, but he still leads the Carolina Panthers in targets out wide because he gets so many more targets than Jonathan Mingo and DJ Chark. So I think he still can exploit that matchup. So I'm going to go full PPR, Nico Collins and Adam Thielen.
Oddly enough, the Chargers have actually started stuffing the run a little bit more. And that might just be because teams can pass on them so well also. They just lost Bosa, which is going to be a killer in the pass game, of course, but certainly run stuffing as well. Gus Edwards has 9 touchdowns in the last 5 games, folks. 9 touchdowns. He hasn't been incredible in PPR because we know he doesn't catch the ball outside of that accidental 80-yard touchdown he had a few weeks ago versus the Lions. But the Ravens have a bye next week. I think they go in, tonight. I really hope my boy Herbert can get off the schneid and get a W, but the Ravens have been playing so well. I think they just do enough, don't make mistakes, beat the Chargers and get done. So therefore, I think it's going to be somewhat of a run game there. So in non-full PPR, so half and standard, I want Gus in there for Adam Thielen. In a PPR league specifically, though, I'm going to go with the wide receivers. They just have the significant advantage in PPR leagues. Good luck, Isaac. Cosmo, good morning. Festivus is on the way, by the way, gentlemen. Just another couple of weeks until Festivus. Looking forward to that. Good morning. Half PPR. Tank Dell, Ramondre Stevenson for the flex spot. Maddie?
Yeah, I don't like this question because I think the right answer is Stevenson in a half PPR, but I'm going to go Dell because I think he can create enough yardage and touchdowns where he can make up for the half PPR that Stevenson's going to get. Mind you, flash news, Mac Jones will start at the Giants today.
Ooh.
So I don't know how confident I am that Mac Jones will dump off to Stevenson. And I don't know, Bob, you can tell us when it gets around to you what you think about Stevenson rushing against the Giants. But I'm probably leaning hot hand Tank Dell in this one. In all formats, by the way.
Yeah, same for me. Even though it is half PPR, I want a piece of that game, and I'm not really sure what we're going to get out of either New England or the Giants offense. Frankly, that one just lines up as a stinker, which may Murphy's Law says it'll be the best game of the week then, but. No, I'm going to fade that game, fade Stevenson. I'll go with Tank Dell.
Yeah, it's tank for me. So Leonard Williams is out today too. I'm sorry, not Leonard Williams. Dexter Lawrence is out today. Leonard Williams has been traded to the Seahawks. So I like Stevenson a lot, but I'm not going to sit Tank Dell. Even though I have this weird gut feeling that today is going to be a Nico Collins day because I think Tank Dell, everyone's talking about the last time they played. But I just want to play Houston, Texas. That Jacksonville Texans game is going to be a fun one. I like that game. I'm not going to fade Tank Dell. I like Stevenson, though, but not enough to sit Tank Dell.
Yeah, totally right. Whether it's a Nico Collins game or not, doesn't matter. It'll also be a Tank Dell game. Kid has been absolutely on fire the last couple of weeks. Couple quick nerd stats here. Since Tank Dell and Nico Collins have played 6 games together, both being healthy, Tank Dell leads with 21% target share, 35% air yard share. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. That's yards per target, basically in the air, regardless of the catch or not. So getting the deeper looks, which I thought was actually surprising there. On top of that, the Jacksonville Jaguars play zone at the 4th highest rate in the NFL, 81%. In those 6 games with Tank Dell and Collins, Dell is easily leading the team with zone targets at 25% and 40% air yards. So no matter what, it's still Tank Dell. He's been absolutely on fire. I think the only points that happen in the Giants and Patriots game today are going to be field goals and DST points. So I don't want any of those offensive options here outside of maybe Saquon because you have to. So give me Tank Dell pretty easily in this one. Daniel, we got Murray or Fields. Also Deontay and Amari Cooper or Shaheed. So Daniel's asked us about Deontay Johnson 3 times, gentlemen. He's on tilt a little bit here. I think it's one of those, like, you put him in your lineup and then you're just like, shit, I need someone else to tell me I should take him out or confirm that he should be in there. So, Daniel, we got you, buddy. All right, so the original Justin Fields or the current Justin Fields or Deontay Johnson, Amari Cooper, and Rashid Shaheed with Michael Thomas now out. Looks like we had 1, 2, 3, 4. So quarterback and then basically a wide receiver question. Matt?
Right. I guess Murray is Fields light.
Yeah.
And the Bears get Minnesota in Minnesota. Is that right? And I think
Bears get Minnesota in Minnesota on Monday Night Football, correct?
Oh boy.
Primetime Fields,
Justin,
maybe?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to lean Fields. And then I'm also going to go Cleveland gets at Denver, who's been actually surprisingly good on defense since they had a 70 burger dropped on them. And actually read an interesting, here's another nerd number for you. Even after the 70-point aberration, Denver is currently trending to give up less than 250 yards per game total for the season, which would be an NFL record. So I probably fade Amari based on that and Dorian Thompson-Robinson being under center, which would put it up to Shaheed or Deontay. Shaheed can go for 3, 153 and a touchdown or 0. Michael Thomas is out. I think A.T. Perry is going to get more catches. So all of that to say, give me Fields and PPR machine Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to go Kyler Murray over the 2. I like the matchup better and playing at home. We're seeing, we were kind of worried, wondering how he was going to be coming off the extended absence. Well, he looks to be full speed now. So I think his trajectory is up. So I'm going to go Kyler Murray there. There's really very few, if any, scenarios where I'm playing Amari Cooper right now, regardless of the matchup. So I'm going to go Deontay. And a little bit of a risk there, we get the new play caller there. We're same quarterback, new play caller, so we're not really sure, what this is going to pan out to be. But I'm rolling there. I mean, this divisional game, I think the Steelers would love to just really beat down and put a nail in the coffin of the Bengals today. So I like really most of the Steelers in any scenario. So Murray and Deontay for me.
I'm going to go Fields. Murray, if you look at his stats against the Rams the last few years, he hasn't really been that good. I mean, he hasn't found the end zone a lot. 2 games with no passing touchdowns out of the last 3. And I'm just going to keep riding Fields. The fact that it's so crazy that, like, wow, when you watch the most recent games for Fields, they started running a little more. He's out of the pocket more. It's like super weird that the first month they didn't do that. I don't know why, but they're back to normal. It's Fields all day. And then I'm going to go Deontay. He's just a safer play. I like the matchup for Shaheed in the slot against Atlanta, but I just don't know what's going on with Derek Carr. Very streaky. And then with Desmond Ridder in that game, I don't know if is there really going to be that much scoring in New Orleans versus Atlanta? I just think Deontay's the safest play. He's going to get peppered with targets. I like Mike Sullivan too, so I'm going to go Deontay and Fields.
Justin Fields for me. Kyler Murray has been awesome in the 2 games that he's come back, but Justin Fields, after 4.5 games off getting hurt versus these Minnesota Vikings in week 6, came back 18 carries last week, gentlemen, easily a season high, 104 yards, easily a season high on the ground, and did score as well. He was the QB8. Now, he only threw the ball 23 times, which is actually a season low outside of the game that he got hurt. I think he still has a thumb issue, to be honest. And if you do that with a guy that can run, I think he's just going to probably step back, look for his first read. If it's not open, he's going to take off. And Minnesota, actually, they started horrendous on defense. The last 6 weeks or so, they have turned it around significantly. The game is in Minnesota, and big game for the Vikings, really, to keep them in contention. So I think they do well against him as a passer, but I think he's just too much on the ground, at least for fantasy. So I'm going to lean Fields there, and you guys have already said it. I'm also going to go with Deontay. I think it's a decent game there. And we'll see what Kenny Pickett can be with an actual play caller. And I'm not, if he can be Eli Manning, I guess that would be an upgrade from where he's been, certainly. So hopefully that can happen there. Ronald McDonald checking in, and I read the fine print, Matt. Ronald McDonald is actually Beach's alias. So Beach is rolling undercover this week. We appreciate that. So shouts out to Ronald McDonald, not a sponsor. All right, full PPR here. Who do we start? We got Godwin and Javonte at the flex. Thanks, and you're welcome.
Javonte didn't look great last week, did he? But he looked really, really good the week before. Godwin has basically taken the 2023 season off, but he's in a decent matchup. But I will go with Javonte for volume in this matchup. Wait a minute. They're playing Cleveland, aren't they?
Yep.
Yes, they are.
Ugh. And Godwin's got a really good matchup. Well, he's got a better matchup than Javonte. Ugh. Can I pass? Let me, Derek, I'm going to turn it over to you, but let me look at what I can find on our guy. Who's Godwin got? Remind me.
Colts.
Yeah, I'm going Godwin.
Yeah, so I was just going to finish Matt's thought that where he was going, but yeah, that Javonte versus the Browns is not a matchup you want to face if you have another option. Godwin, yeah, certainly he's not getting into the end zone, and for some reason Baker doesn't seem to target him nearly as much as he probably should, but he's got the better matchup, and one of these days, Baker's not dumb. I mean, so one of these days he's going to figure out that he's got a weapon. He got 2 weapons there that he can throw to. Maybe that's today versus the Colts. So give me Godwin.
I don't know if Baker's dumb or if he just Mike Evans is really good. He's just like Mike Evans. I'm just gonna throw to him all the time. It's been pretty smart so far. Man, I don't know. Do we think Javonte can find the end zone today? What's the odds of that happening? I think that's what's gonna have to happen for him to have a big day. Yeah, give me Godwin. Godwin's fine. Full PPR. I'm sure he'll get 4 or 5 catches.
Yeah, PPR, I'm going to lean that direction too. Javonte Williams, guys, he's seen his workload decrease the last 3 weeks, right? 63% 3 weeks ago. Now it's down to 49%. Jaleel McLaughlin came in for him about a month and a half ago when he got injured, had 2 explosive games, and now he's just chipping away. And look, jokes or not, like Russ is actually cooking. Like the Broncos are playing well on offense in general, and certainly through the passing game. I don't know that happens against the Browns today, but the offense, I think, is trending in that direction. So I think that it's leading with Russ and having Javonte in the back end versus going through Javonte and letting Russ be the second option, which they kicked the year off with. So I don't love that against Cleveland. I think that's going to be a sloppy game there in the cold anyway. So I don't love that. If he scores, he scores, but I can't count on it. Chris Godwin, you're right. I mean, first of all, if I had a player that was 6'5" and had the tattoos that Mike Evans had, I would just throw to him every single time. So Baker's not dumb, but he's also a college quarterback. He's not an NFL quarterback. He's a first read guy, and he explodes, for his first read there, which I like. Full PPR, I'm going to give the opportunity to Chris Godwin against the Colts, who we've been telling you all season, exploit the Colts. I think it's a good opportunity. And Chris Godwin's getting the targets. He's just not getting the yardage because his ADOT is insane. So maybe he gets a touchdown. He's only got 1 on the year, but I'm going to go with the Colts. And shouts out to Beach McDonald for chiming in with us. All right, folks, we are about 20 minutes or so away from Bob's weekly 10-minute solo show here, where he breaks down essentially everybody that has any injury designations. And we're not just talking fantasy. We're talking offensive, defensive linemen, secondaries, right? Maybe some of those auxiliary, deeper flex positions. So make sure to stick around. We're going to do that at the top of the hour. That would be 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon p.m. on the Eastern side. So make sure you stick around for that coming up in about 20 minutes. If you have any injury-specific questions you're concerned about, drop those in the chat right now. And for those of you that have not already, make sure to hit that bell, subscribe, and follow us everywhere you can. We got the rest of the season coming up with high-quality content on the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. Jonathan dropping in here. I want to hear Bobby's kicker picks. So first of all, at this point of the show and this point of the season, and us as a quad box here, Bobby has become Bob, right? Like Bob is his professional name. That's what his locker says in the break room. His mom puts Bob and then BY in parentheses on the lunch pail, but it's Bob, right? When you go Bobby, Matt, this looks a little sus. If I'm being honest, it seems like maybe we're looking at potential insider trading here, but Bobby, I would love to go ahead and get those kicker picks. And unfortunately, man, you're going to have to go away from Jason Myers this week. So what do you got for us?
Well, I got to tell you, we're dropping K1 bombs all day. I got to tell you.
K1 bombs. Love to hear that.
We're doing some good stuff. My K1 kicker of the week, Chase McLaughlin, the Tampa Bay kicker going up against the Colts. I really like his matchup this week. I have him in all my leagues. The backup to that is Brandon McManus, who is the Jacksonville kicker going up against Houston. I like that matchup a lot. McManus is more owned, but if he is available, I like him too. But Chase McLaughlin's my guy. By the way, here's my insider trick. Here's. Chase McLaughlin was the Colts kicker last year. He actually came on, played well for them. They didn't want him. They let him go. They signed Matt Gay to a big contract, and Chase McLaughlin was just forced to go to Tampa to win the kicker job. I have a feeling they're going to give him a lot of chances to drop 50-yard bombs on them today. So I'm going Chase McLaughlin.
Gotta love the rare kicker revenge game. Nice drop there, Bob.
Love it.
Well done. I just moved up Chase McLaughlin from my kicker 31 to my kicker 2 behind Brandon Aubrey, who was initially my starting kicker there. And of course, this time of season, maybe it goes unsaid, but we have to say these kind of things. We're professionals on the program. This is an indoor game, right? Tampa Bay is an outdoor team. This is an indoor game in Indianapolis. This time of year, if you don't have your set it and forget it's Harrison Butker, Justin Tucker, Jake Elliott, whatever, you want those indoor kickers as often as possible, especially when we're concerned this time of year with weather. So well done there, Bob, and we'll continue the trade. You've been absolutely crushing it on kickers this season. Daniel is back. Pick 2, Swift, Olave, Nico Collins. We've already talked about Nico Collins and Olave for him, but let's throw Swift in there as well. We're looking at flex position, gentlemen. PPR, pick 2, Matty Styles.
Swift is questionable, but I'm going to start him and Nico over Olave.
Yeah, make that a double.
Triple.
You know what? Make it a quad.
We gotta get like a sound for that. We gotta get like a horn. Let me try something real quick. What about I'm trying to find something cool.
little soft. It's a little soft.
Little quad box brought to you by Razzball, baby.
Oh well, okay. If you turn it around that way, I think
got the elevator music going on.
I think what we need is Matt. I think you would agree. So Pearl Jam likes to open up some of their songs with just a double hit on the snare, just a and then song. Pearl Jam not a sponsor yet, unfortunately. Shouts out to our boy Eddie Vedder and the boys. But if we had like just a slam on the snare with a little extra delay and reverb, boom, and then we could ride out that ride cymbal, and then we can go into like Bob's kicker pick or quad fecta, something like that. So again, those are the type of things we'll run up the chain to upper management and get that changed up for next year. Y'all were right. Thanksgiving ham hit good this year. That's right, folks. We're here to drop knowledge for you. Derek, really quick. I'm sorry I buried the lead this long. I just reminded myself. I apologize. It's early for me on the West Coast here. My bad. How was the stuffing for you this year?
It was good. Yeah, made the meal. We had ham too. Stuffing and ham. You can't beat that either.
Maddie, did you get your mac and cheese?
No mac and cheese. I went over to the neighbors with Jen out of town. The neighbor, he smoked a butterfly turkey breast. He actually wrapped it back up, twined it, and smoked it for 3 hours. I'll tell you what, it's the best turkey breast I've ever had. They set me up with a big old thing of leftovers, which don't tell them, but I've been feeding the dogs the turkey leftovers. Because as a Class B bachelor the last 2 weeks, I may have been having steak every other night.
Yeah.
Because when your wife's out of town, you only have to buy one steak.
Nice. Yeah, the missus is out of town. I love to hear that. Shouts out to the neighbor though. I love the assist there. We got to raise the neighbor up in our rankings there. Shouts out. All right, everybody. Bill Dino back into place. Got nothing, but a must win. Already sat Metcalf. Well done. See, Bill's the only one paying attention over here. Love to see that. Sat Metcalf and Carr is back. So sit in Olave 2. Enjoy the day. Bill Dino, not a question. Just a comment. Love to see that. Good luck, Bill. Zach Goody. New name? Potentially. Welcome to the program, Zach. With Burrow out, I've rostered Baker. Worth keeping him? Let's go question mark at the end of that. Quickly, worth keeping Baker Mayfield. You're starting him this week. We just talked about that Colts matchup. Burrow's done for the year, Matt. Are we going to be streaming week to week? You just ride or die Baker. You're the Baker guy from the beginning.
Well, we know Burrow's on IR. Baker is a start this week. And I will tell you that for next week with Lamar out in one of our leagues, I picked up Gardner Minshew, dropping Donald Parham because it appears as if Gerald Everett's back. So all of that to say you this. Yes, you start Baker this week. He is a streaming option for the remainder of the season. By the way, he's going to give all kinds of attention to Rachaad White out of the backfield. You need a guy like that to break one to make your fantasy day as a quarterback. So I'm okay with putting Burrow on IR or dropping him altogether, keeping a hold of Baker, and then go finding your backup quarterback or your streaming option each week. Or if you want to roster a guy like Minshew with all of his weapons healthy, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, so I think we've now narrowed it down. This must be Matt's burner. So little extra information from Zach going with Minshew today. But he also says, and I assume that's Russell, but the only Wilson now that matters, right? At a quarterback position. So Russell Wilson the rest of the way. So I take this as I agree. Go with Minshew today. But looking forward, I like Russ Wilson's playoff schedule a lot better than Baker's. And so if I'm looking forward, I would go ahead and take Russ Wilson and just stash him for today. But there's some really nice matchups there you want to exploit later in the season, including the playoffs.
Yeah, rest of season. I am not mentally prepared for that. Let's see. I'm just curious. So we have Tampa Bay, Denver, rest of season.
Might as well throw Minshew in there too. Just in your look quick.
And Minshew's got Tennessee next week.
I have Minshew as the best rest of season quarterback that I would like if I was, and I think I would start him this week too. So I'm going to go Minshew.
Wow.
Tampa's been oddly bad, like insanely bad against the pass. like it's been really bad. So I actually like Minshew this week. He's in my DFS lineup. I like him.
Yeah, I've actually, man, I don't know if I'm going to be a lot of help here. So I have my weekly rankings, and I divert to those a lot to make those quick decisions. I'll look at my quarterback rankings, guys. 18, Baker Mayfield. 19, Gardner Minshew. 20, Russell Wilson. And that was just based on some weather I was concerned about. Sounds like that's not as much of an issue as I thought it might be. So I'll probably rise him up. But he's going up against Cleveland, who's been just dominating everybody. So I got these guys back to back to back. I do like the matchup indoors. Both of those guys, Baker and Gardner, going against each other, of course. But oddly enough, I think I trust the Bucs offense more right now, at least in the passing game, because we got Jonathan Taylor fresh off a bye. So I'm going to have to lean Baker Mayfield by a smidge. But if you can pick up, you drop Burrow into your IR, and you can pick up Russell Wilson as well. I like Russ down the stretch. I just can't necessarily trust Minshew week to week, but I do like how Russ is playing right now. And maybe not this week, but Cortland Sutton is just unguardable right now, which, of course, you love in that matchup. Jonathan's got back-to-back.
Can I say something? He's guardable, but, like, he just makes these insane catches. Like, the guy's right there. He's just like, I'm going to take that and get it. It's amazing to watch.
Love it. Good correction there, Bob. That is valid. Well done. Reminds me of a Brandon Lloyd for the OGs out here who never got the rep he deserved, but just phenomenal hands constantly, playing with horrible quarterbacks for my Niners back in the day. All right, shouts out to Tim Rattay and the boys. All right, PPR, pick 2, Addison, Flowers, and Ridley. And then we have a running back question here as well. We got Spears or James Cook. So let's kind of wrap this into one conversation, boys. We got back-to-backs. We got wide receiver question and a running back question. Running back question, James Cook or Tyjae Spears, of course, backing up King Henry. And then we have Addison, Flowers, and Ridley as well. Matt, we'll go with you.
We are sitting Flowers this week, midweek injury. He showed up on the injury report, so I'm not a big fan of playing him this week. As much as it tastes like bile to say, I think it's an Odell Beckham week for the Ravens, possibly Isaiah Likely. So give me Addison and Ridley, and you don't run against the Eagles, so give me Spears in a close coin flip for me for running back.
Yeah, so I'm looking here, and I see that Flowers had a full practice Friday. He's good to go. My first blush at this, I like Flowers and Addison were my 2, sitting Ridley. That one's a little tough because I do like that matchup, or like that game. I think there'll be a lot of passes thrown by Lawrence. So, I mean, you could talk me off of the Flowers. I'll wait to see what Bobby and Sky have to say. But right now I'm Addison, Flowers, and then I like Spears over Cook, just matchup alone. I think the Titans have a perfect matchup to give Spears a little extra work. That might could even be a lopsided game, which would allow Spears to get some extra work in. So I just like the upside there versus, Cook going against the Eagles line. So I'll go Spears as the running back, but Addison, Flowers, and Spears.
Oh, we're skipping ahead. I was like, where are we talking about? Yeah, well, it's been interesting because Addison has not performed well with Josh Dobbs since he's been quarterback. Dobbs has been hyper-targeting TJ Hawkinson. He's also been running the football a lot more than Kirk Cousins have ever done it. So Addison has not been the same. Plus, I don't even know if Justin Jefferson's going to be active this week. Do we have any? I've not seen. I heard he's questionable. He's out?
No, he's cute. He's still questionable.
Yeah, I think it's likely he's not going to play.
Yeah,
there's no reason for them to play him. not with a bye coming up.
Well, they need to win games. They're the 7th seed right now. They can't afford just to lose. But
They'll
yeah, I
beat
hear
the
what you're
Bears
saying.
without him.
Hey, Justin Fields. I don't know if I like that. The only guy that has a really good out wide matchup this week is Zay Flowers. So I'm going to trust the numbers there and stick with Zay Flowers. Even he's dealing with a minor injury. I just think that Mark Andrews being out, he's going to be force fed a little more targets, so I can't fade him there. The next one's Ridley versus Addison. I think I'm going to go Ridley. Just because I think the Houston defense and the Jacks, that could be a fun game. So I'm going to take the upside of the game and go Ridley over Addison slightly.
Man, I wrote in my article this week, Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk are my quote unquote tradeaways if you still have, trade situations. And I like both players a lot. My issue is the consistency. I was a big Calvin Ridley guy preseason. And we saw last week, he was literally the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football last week. We know it's possible. It doesn't happen with consistency. It's Calvin Ridley, and then the next week it's Christian Kirk, and the next week it's ETN, and then Evan Ingram has a big game, and then Zay Flowers comes back. So I don't love that. Also, Houston shut down Ridley in week 3, just 3 for 40 on 7 targets. So I'm going to lean Addison. I don't think Justin Jefferson plays this season. I'm sticking with it. I know it may sound crazy. Whatever. I got a hunch. But I don't like him on Monday night, and I'm not going to leave my roster hostage there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with Ridley Addison and Flowers up at the top. And then it's really hard to just start a backup, but the Eagles just don't allow rushing. So I kind of do like Spears there going in PPR. But while Bob's away, guys, can we get a clear thought here? Do we actually think Derrick Henry is ready for a big game in an incredible matchup? Or is he tired? Is his offense horrendous? Are we just putting out false expectations for what we have come to expect this time of year for Derrick Henry? Personal question. I'm going to divert for a second while Bob stepped away. 10 seconds, whatever. Matt, what do you think about Derrick Henry kind of in general right now?
Came in with the 30 back wall.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. Say it again.
I think he may have hit that 30-year-old NFL running back wall. I'm not sure he's the same guy.
Yeah, I agree. If we're harboring any hopes of, consistently producing like he did last year, I think, through 11 weeks, we've dashed that. So, he'll probably have a few good games, the rest of the way. Unfortunately, you own him, you've got to play him. And, he's kind of in that position now where, you hope you catch him on a good day. And, if by chance you sit him, you hope that's the one that you don't, he doesn't show up. So, unfortunately, he's in that position where you just don't want him, you don't want to own him anymore. So yeah, I don't expect a lot from him moving forward, honestly.
Yeah, that makes me nervous as well. All right, Daniel. And again, everybody, we've got about 5 minutes or so until Bob takes over for about 10. We got an injury report coming up at the top of the hour. So make sure you get all your injury questions dropped in here below. Again, about a 5-minute warning until the rest of us step away for a bit and give Bob the front seat here before we get into the rest of the show. Daniel's back, full PPR. Kyren Williams, Mixon, Warren. This is a nice question and a tough one.
Warren for me.
Sit one.
Oh, sit one. I said it earlier. I'm probably starting Mixon over Williams, so I believe I have to stay with that. But I could be talked into Williams over Mixon, and I believe the other guys are going to say Williams over Mixon.
This guy is, yeah. I'm sitting Mixon out of these 3. I'll start Williams and Warren and look for the upside for both of them.
Yeah, same. I'm going to sit Mixon. I just think Warren, there's something going to happen today. Kyren Williams is going to be a smash against the Cardinals. At least I hope he is. I just think the numbers say you sit Mixon with the backup QB situation.
Kyren Williams and Warren for me as well. Sit Mixon. Okay, a couple more, Jonathan. Shakir or Shaheed? Standard, non-PPR league.
Shakir for me.
Shaheed for me.
Buffalo's got this. Man, I'm gonna go the upside of that Bills game. I'm gonna go Khalil Shakir.
Man, was that A.T. Perry shade there, Derek? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna split the difference. Unfortunately, guys, I'm gonna go with Shaheed as well in a non PPR league where catches literally don't matter. You're
I don't
based
even know what
on
that means.
right. Me neither. But some people still they do fantasy like with pen and pad. It's Matt.
That,
Basically,
that would
it's
be
like
like saying extra points don't count.
yeah, it's like a crossword puzzle that you get like in the New York Times. We just you pencil in your answer and then you go and pen it later. It's kind of that thing. You pregame with the pencil, you come in late, boom, you pen it in. It's still pretty old there, but shouts out to our boy Jonathan.
Yeah. And before we go, I'll give a little context to my thought here. I do like Shakir, but I see him as really the fourth option for Buffalo.
Same.
Between Diggs, Davis, and and their tight end, which we all love. So, especially in a standard league, you're just hoping for one of those, big plays, and what are the odds of that is pretty low. So, just from a potential volume standpoint, Shaheed's probably going to be the second target, maybe the third if you want to say Kamara as a target. I think there's a little bit more upside with Shaheed than Shakir. There's the context to my quick answer.
I like it. You're looking for big plays in non PPR period, and Shaheed could have 3 catches, but that could be 100 yards and maybe a touchdown. Look, Derek Carr is not amazing. We know that, but we also know that he doesn't like Chris Olave, and he likes to chuck it up. So I'm going to take the wishbone there with Shaheed. Unfortunately, we're going to split the difference on that one. Hunt or Chandler. So Vikings or Browns running back here again, non PPR. Matt,
I guess it's backup versus backup. I tend to like Ford more than I like Madison. So with that, give me Chandler over Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, much the same reason for me. I'm going to go Chandler as well. That game line, 48 points versus 37 for the Browns and Broncos.
gross.
I'll lean like Matt with Chandler and just
Keep it clean. The wife's in here.
Lean back.
All right, she's gone.
Oh, okay, great. Thank God. Bob?
I'm going to go Hunt. The Denver run defense is terrible. So I think the only shot they have is to run the football a bunch. And I think that he probably get you 12 carries, and let's hope for the best there.
Nice. Matt, I'm glad you told me, man. I was about to bring up your weekend shenanigans again. I didn't want to throw you under the bus there. So
yeah,
good.
She saw part of a steak in the fridge. I'm already in trouble. So
nice. Well, hey, man, we're wishing you well. I just think it's going to be ugly for Denver and Cleveland. So I'm going to go with Minnesota. Madison, I should say, is going to play, but Chandler's been splitting the work pretty much. So I like that a lot. And man, my boy Madison just drops those like Dalvin Cook screen passes that go for 40 yards every time. We've come to love in Minnesota. Madison drops them every time. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to lean Chandler there just by a smidge. Fields and Stroud. Maddie.
Dude. I've already said Fields once. I tend to think that Houston's going to be in a more pass-friendly game. So give me the rookie over Fields. But I'm certainly not married to either one because Justin Fields is in the question. But I think I'm going to go Stroud this week.
Yeah, same for me. I mentioned earlier I want that passing game for the Texans, and got to start with the quarterback, so I'll go with Stroud.
Yeah, Stroud as well.
Stroud, same Z's. All right, everybody. We are going to do, let's see, we're going to do 2 more questions here, and then we're going to let Bob take over. Yes, Bob, go ahead. Love it. Half PPR. We got Odell Beckham, Nico Collins, and Chris Olave. A lot of Chris Olave, a lot of Nico Collins. We brought up so we talked about Zay Flowers being questionable all week long, which is true. Odell Beckham was also questionable all week long as well. So, guys, both of those wide receivers there come in with questionable tags. They've both been cleared and they're going to play. Half PPR. Matt, we'll start with you on this one. We got OBJ. We know you don't like necessarily, but might have more opportunity now with Mark Andrews out. OBJ, Nico Collins, Chris Olave. Who are you playing at half PPR?
Let me say this. I think that we moved this question to the front of the line because the person opted in for the super chat. So I'm going to let
correct.
Bob get to that. I'll let Bob explain that to anybody that's watching and listening here in a second. Quickly from me, I don't like Olave with Carback. I tend to fade Beckham. I just don't know that you can trust him. I'm going to go Nico Collins in this with Noah Brown out in a offensive matchup with Houston.
Yeah, same for me. 11 targets last week against the Cardinals. Jacksonville defense ranks pretty much equivalent to the wide receivers as last week. 7 for 65. I expected maybe a similar line, but add a touchdown to that as well. So Nico Collins for me.
Ooh, the
Nico for me as
touchdown
well.
prediction. Love it. Nico Collins also. Bob, let us know what Super Chat's all about.
Yeah. So, by the way, folks, we have partnered this season with Good Sports. It's a charity organization that helps underprivileged communities provide sporting equipment to kids who want to play sports. So basically what we're doing here is every dollar you donate to us, we donate 10% of that. Our super chat function essentially just allows you to skip the line. If you're someone in a rush and you don't have time to listen to all the show and you don't have time to listen to all the other questions and you want to get your answer, $1 or $2, anything goes a long way for us, helping us produce the show each week. But you also jump the line. We'll answer your questions first. All you got to do is check out on your screen. If you see the live chat function, there'll be a $sign. You click on that, donate $1 or $2. We'll get your question answered right away. But also 10% of that will go to Good Sports at the end of the season. Whatever we make, we donate 10%. So it'd be great for you guys to donate to us. It goes to the team and also to a really good charity in Good Sports.
Love to see that. Support the youth, yo. All of us were, playing some sport as a kid. Some of them are less privileged than others and don't have as many opportunities. So however we can give back to that, to the next generations and so forth, we'd like to participate. So feel free to drop a contribution. Maybe you just want to donate to the show and don't necessarily have a question. We appreciate that, of course, as well. But if you do have a question, $1, $20, $50, $100 for the season, whatever it is that you feel is accurate, feel free to support. We appreciate you.
And if you've been watching for a little bit, if you refresh your browser, you should see the icon come up on the screen. It's just like a little $sign in the chat function at the bottom.
Thank you, Bob. Hey, we got one more question from Micah here. And then, Bob, I'm going to let you take over. Also, gentlemen, I got a short show today. I'm down in California with my family, so I'm going to step away, enjoy that minimal time that I get with them these days. So I'm going to branch off for the second hour. I will be out for the remainder of the show after Bob takes over. But the final question here, before we take our quick break, Micah is wondering in half PPR, we need one running back, guys. We got Jerome Ford, Devin Singletary, and Najee Harris. Again, we had that breaking news out of Pittsburgh this morning. Looks like Jalen Warren might be the lead back at this point. We talked about the Houston Texans and Devin Singletary having his best season, or at least nice chunk the last couple of weeks, and Jerome Ford going up against those Denver football Broncos. Matt, what do you think here? We need to pick one, half PPR.
Okay, so I'm sitting Najee Harris for sure. Ford is going up. He's going into Denver, and I think Derek, you mentioned recently that Denver is actually better against the run recently, or did you say their opponent was? Remind me.
I think Bobby said you can run on Denver. I think Sky, you might have mentioned that they were a little bit better. So lately.
Yeah.
So I think they're leaning towards no Dameon Pierce for Houston again. So if Pierce is out, I like Singletary just ever so slightly because of volume over Jerome Ford. But I really prefer Jerome Ford as I think is the better true running back, if there is one at this point, because they both started the season as backups, if not significant backups. So I lean slightly Singletary in today's game against Jacksonville, with Jerome Ford just below him and Najee currently not in my discussion.
So my feed is showing that Dameon Pierce is active today.
That is correct.
Yep. Then I go Ford.
Yeah. Same for me. I'm going Ford.
Ford.
bored as well. I'm going to get out of here on a quadfecta. Quadfecta. Oh, that was that.
Yeah,
It was not good.
We'll,
It was
yeah,
not
we'll talk
good.
about
All
it.
right, all right.
We'll talk about it as a takeaway.
Okay, sorry. I'll bring that to
fixed.
the next company picnic. Guys, I'm going to step away. Grateful for the show and all of you on the panel as well. It's been a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of your football. Bob is going to take over for the next 10 minutes or so with your weekly injury report. Make sure you jot all those notes down. Get into that Razzball championship here. We're excited to bring it to you all week long. And Matty Styles will take over when we get back. Yes, sir.
So I'd like to just mention one thing before you leave and before Bob moves into the injuries. So just real quick, I mean, Daniel's typing as he thinks, right? I didn't know about the news till y'all mentioned it. So just a shout out for us, right? This is what we do in our spare time. So if you're busy, which we all are, right? You've got family, you've got school, you've got work, you've got extra pursuits, you play sports, you do whatever it is, you read, you watch TV, whatever it is that you do. Just know that we come onto this show, number one, for you guys, number two, to make each other laugh and have a good time in the morning. But we follow this stuff probably to a fault. So if you come in here, you don't need to drop questions. You can simply listen in. You can hear what we have to say, and you're probably going to get at least one or two nuggets outside of your general roster questions that can help, because we just follow this stuff too much. So you've got 4 different perspectives from 4 different parts of the country. That means 4 different news sources, plus the big news sources we look at. So shout out to Daniel for being here every weekend. Sometimes he pops into the Tuesday show, but just remember, we're here for you guys, and so we try to give you the news as we see it come in. And Sky, we will see you Tuesday.
I love it. Thank you, boys. Zach, Micah, Daniel's coming back after the break. Adam, Marsh, Dylan. Everybody stick around here. We've got about 10 minutes for Bob in the solo pod for the injury breakdown, and then Derek and Matt will be back. I wish the rest of you the best. Best of luck this week. Stick around. The guys will be right back. Bob, I'm going to turn it over to you. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, man, today's going to be the injury report. We're going to break down some of the key injuries that are going to impact your fantasy leagues heading into week 12. Basically, this is going to be everything from quarterback all the way through to defense and also offensive line. A lot of injuries to cover today, so let's get into it. All right, to start at the top, Rachaad White is in today. He'll be active. Obviously, going up against the Colts, that's a solid matchup for him, so I do like Rachaad White this week in a good matchup in the Dome in Indianapolis. Some key injuries for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Levante David, stud middle linebacker, is out. Jamel Dean, one of the top outside cornerbacks, is out today for Tampa. That's going to be big news for guys like Michael Pittman. Also good news for the running game and Jonathan Taylor as well, with Levante David out. So I do like Gardner Minshew is a nice stack with Michael Pittman in DFS this week. If you are suffering from injuries at quarterback, Gardner Minshew's on the streamer radar this week. I like that matchup. Juju Brent's outside cornerback for the for the Indianapolis Colts is also out today. I really like Mike Evans to continue to do well this week. Chris Godwin's probably closer to a wide receiver 3 in that matchup. Center Ryan Kelly is out. Slight ding maybe for that run game for the Colts, but overall with Levante David out, I think Jonathan Taylor is a solid play. Should help a little bit in a tougher run game matchup overall. Drew Ogletree is out today. That's the young tight end that was getting more work for the Colts. Look for Kylan Granson to get more work today. If you're looking for a dart throw DFS play, maybe Kylan Granson could be a start for you. Jumping down to the Giants versus the New England Patriots. It looks like a Dory Jackson stud outside cornerback will be back this week for the New York Giants. So that is key. However, they will be down Dexter Lawrence. Now, remember, the Giants also trade away Darius Leonard. Leonard to the Seattle Seahawks. So they're going to be very short at defensive tackle today with Dexter Lawrence out. I do like Ramondre Stevenson to take advantage of that matchup. Look for the Patriots to run the football a lot. Surprising news, Darius Slayton, even though he was listed as doubtful, is now in this week, but he's extremely banged up. That's going to be a tough call. I do like the Patriots defense today against Tommy DeVito and company. I just think that the Patriots are going to come out and shut that down. I think Barkley is going to be their key focus. Call it a hunch, but they're not going to let Barkley beat them in this matchup. We also have Evan Neal out today. Trust me, as a Giants fan, and you all know that doesn't really matter because he's been terrible. All right, jumping down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers defense is extremely, extremely banged up. We'll talk a little bit later about 6 scores, but overall, the Steelers defense is dealing with a lot of injuries. Micah Fitzpatrick, safety, Keanu Neal out, Alexander and Cole Holcomb are out. Martavius Adams is out. Of course, we know Joe Burrow is also out of this game. However, Joe Mixon on volume alone against a very banged up Steelers defense should still be a solid RB2 in this game. T. Higgins is also out today. Now, remember, Joe Burrow missed a lot of time this offseason, so their backup did get a lot of work with Jamar Chase. I know we're a little hesitant to start Chase this week. However, Chase, because of some of the injuries to that Steelers defense, is still a solid start this week with T. Higgins out. Cam Taylor-Britt is also out for the Cincinnati Bengals. That's one of their top outside cornerbacks. I'd like to change to Mike Sullivan as OC, so look for Deontay Johnson to really capitalize on that matchup, along with George Pickens, but I lean Deontay Johnson in this game. Jermaine Pratt is active today. It does say game time decision, but he is in. Jumping over to the Carolina Panthers-Titans game, C.J. Henderson is out. That's one of the top outside cornerbacks for the Panthers. Now, we're not really worried about DeAndre Hopkins in this game. Hopkins should have a decent matchup against that Panthers secondary. However, they've played very well, even with all their injuries this season, because they have been terrible against the run. Look for Derrick Henry to have a big game in that matchup anyway. Hayden Hurst is also out today. Look for more targets to get funneled back to Adam Thielen. I know he has a tough slot matchup, but we talked about this on our Friday show. Adam Thielen is still a rock-solid wide receiver 2/3 in PPR this week. Austin Corbett, guard, is out today. That should be a slight thing for that Panthers running offense this week. However, if you're looking for a streamer dart throw defense, maybe the Titans could be an option for you against that Panthers team. Terrace Marshall is out again, healthy scratch. Looks like they're going to lean on Jonathan Mingo and DJ Chark rest of season unless an injury happens. They do have a good, solid outside matchup this week. Mingo has gotten the most routes. However, Chark is your high ADOT player and a better DFS dart throw in that matchup. We also have Traylon Burks out again with the concussion. Just means that probably you're going to look at DeAndre Hopkins getting most of those targets once again. Chris Hubbard, right tackle, is also out for the Titans. However, I'm not really stressed about Derrick Henry this week. He's an absolute smash against the Carolina Panthers run D. Tyson Campbell jumping out of the Jags. Texans, Tyson Campbell, outside cornerback, is out today. Tank Dell went off last time these two teams faced. I like Tank Dell and also Nico Collins as the Jaguars, an out wide funnel defense, also allow down one of their top cornerbacks. Jamal Agnew is out today. Zay Jones is back. I do think that is something to note. Now, if you look at the Texans matchup, the Texans are a slot funnel defense, meaning they do allow a lot more fantasy points to the slot. That means Christian Kirk should have a good day. However, Christian Kirk has not played well with Zay Jones as much. So I do think we need to watch that. If you are starting Christian Kirk, that's okay. The matchup says you can do that. However, temper expectations. Zay Jones has been a lot more involved than we would like to see. But Jamal Agnew being out does open up some more slot routes and targets for Christian Kirk. Jumping down to the Texas side of the football, Noah Brown is out again today. I think that's only going to help guys like Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Dameon Pierce is back this week. I do expect Devin Singletary to be the lead back, but he will not be the bell cow anymore. So you should take a step back from Devin Singletary, probably a low-end RB2 at best this week. Jimmy Ward out. That's the safety for the Texans. I like the deep threats could be a thing for Calvin Ridley this week. I do like that game overall as a shootout between the Texans and the Jaguars. Jumping down to the next matchup, we have the Saints going up against the Falcons on the road. The biggest news coming out of this game, Marshawn Lattimore has been ruled out. Now, the Saints are a very tough out-wide defense, but Marshawn Lattimore, they do play a lot of man coverage, which means that Drake London does get a bump in his matchup. Is he a quality wide receiver too? Probably not. Probably more of a borderline 2/3, but he's now startable with Marshawn Lattimore out this week. Kendra Miller out once again. If you have Alvin Kamara, handcuffing season's coming, folks, not just for your relationships, but for your fantasy teams. Make sure you handcuff Alvin Kamara with Jamal Williams. If you have Alvin Kamara, Kendra Miller has not been able to stay healthy all season. Mike Thomas officially on IR, out again this week. Last week, the way it shook up Chris Olave, A.T. Perry led the team in routes with Chris Olave on the outside. Rashid Shaheed kept his wide receiver 3 role, playing in the slot mostly, but he saw more targets than A.T. Perry. I like Rashid Shaheed as a DFS dart throw this week and a desperation wide receiver 3 if you need an option. in your lineups. Matt Collins is out today. That should only help funnel some more targets to Drake London in that matchup. Jumping down to the Rams and the Cardinals matchup, we have Kyren Williams officially back this week in an absolute smash start against the Cardinals. I love Kyren Williams. I think he's a must-start player in that game. Michael Wilson is out. Marquise Brown is officially in for Kyler Murray. Now, Marquise Brown will not be 100%. He's a risky start against the Rams, but if you need to start a wide receiver 3, I like Marquise Brown with Michael Wilson out in this matchup. Maybe because of these injuries, Rondell Moore and Trey McBride are better plays in this matchup. We have Kaiser White, the stud middle linebacker for the Cardinals, is out today. That is big news for Kyren. Kyren, let's get it done, buddy. Let's just get it done. Let's have a good day. Ask now. Get him in your DFS lineups. Kyren Williams, we love it. Denzel Ward, top cornerback, jumping down to the Browns and Broncos game. If we needed help offensively, we got it. Denzel Ward being out is big-time news for Cortland Sutton. Now, Sutton has got a very tough matchup anyway against the Browns, but Denzel Ward is the top cornerback for that team. That means Cortland Sutton and also Russell Wilson gets some help in that game. Playing at home should help too. I think Cortland Sutton, once again, is a wide receiver 2/3 in that matchup. Jumping down to the Bills-Eagles matchup, we have Milton Williams, the defensive tackle for the Eagles, is out. Dallas Goedert out. Nakobe Dean out for the Eagles front. Dallas Goedert, of course, the tight end, also out this week. Quez Watkins is back. If you're looking for a name in 16-team leagues, if you're in a deeper format, Quez Watkins was a wide receiver 4 last season when Dallas Goedert missed time. So if you're looking for a deeper name in a deeper league, Quez Watkins could be there as well. That couple guys up front being out for the Eagles should help James Cook, but it is a very, very tough matchup for him this week against a very stingy Eagles defense. On the other side of the football, Dane Jackson and Tyler Rapp are out. That's just more injuries for that Bills secondary. Listen, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, get them in your lineups. Don't even think about it twice. They should have absolutely big-time games. The Chiefs are going to miss some of their ancillary pieces this week. We have Mecole Hardman out, Kadarius Toney out, Jerick McKinnon out this week. Listen, Isaiah Pacheco, it's time. He's got the Raiders matchup. He's got no Jerick McKinnon, looking for CEH to get some looks too. But Isaiah Pacheco, come on, buddy. It's time to get moving. Look for Pacheco to get a lot of work, but don't be surprised if CEH gets a lot of that passing game work, maybe 2-minute drill as well. If you're looking for a deeper running back start, CEH with no Jerick McKinnon could be an option there. The injuries to the wide receivers for the Chiefs, I think my dart throw is going to be Justin Watson. I have him in my DFS lineup in DK. He's only $3,000 right now. Justin Watson looked good last week, 11 targets against the Eagles. If you're looking for a DFS deep name, it's Justin Watson. Now, on the flip side, MVS had 6 for 90 in one of the games last year against the Raiders, so maybe he's an option too. Pick your poison, but those two other wide receivers are out. Maybe one of those guys, Rashid Shaheed, is probably the best. Rashid Rice might be the number 1 player in the slot against Nate Hobbs as well. Jumping over to the other side of the football, the Raiders, Max Crosby is a game-time decision, so is Colton Miller, but they look like they both might be in. That's a late window game. We won't know until later. Jumping down to the Ravens versus the Chargers, Malik Harris is one of the stud defensive players for the Ravens is out today. That should be notable for the Chargers running offense. They also have Mark Andrews out while Beckham and Flowers are in. With those two, with Mark Andrews out, Isaiah likely becomes an interesting streamer against a plus matchup against the Chargers. However, I'm going to take what I know. I know that Odell Beckham and Zay Flowers have been working with Lamar Jackson the most, so I'm going to lean Flowers and Beckham. I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach on Isaiah likely if I can. However, if you are desperate at tight end, likely is not a bad option. Joey Bosa is out today. That should help the passing game and also the running matchup for the Ravens offense. Joey Bosa, stud defensive end, is out for a while for the Chargers. Gerald Everett and Jalen Guyton are both back this week. That just adds more weapons for Justin Herbert in a game that should be higher scoring at home against the Ravens. Both worth don't think you can start either in this matchup against the Ravens, but it might be good news for Justin Herbert. Wrapping out Monday Night Football, Deontay Foreman is out. Khalil Herbert is going to get a majority of the work, looking for Roshan Johnson to play on passing downs, but I like Khalil Herbert as a RB2 this week if you need an option with Jordan Hicks and Dean Lowry, both defensive fronts for the Minnesota Vikings. They are both out in this game. So that is notable as well. So the Vikings will be missing a few pieces. Deontay Foreman is out officially. So look for those guys to get look for Khalil Herbert to be a solid option if you need it. Let's talk about some notable six scores before we get back to your questions here. This is how you exploit matchups. Here are the key six scores for this week that you need to know. Patriots pass D, six score 64. I don't think I care. I'm sorry, six score. I might have to say I don't care. Unfortunately, I just think that Bill Belichick and company with is just going to have Tommy D's number in this matchup. Patriots run D is also really banged up. They're below 80 this week. I think Saquon Barkley is going to be the key focus. I'm calling my shot. Patriots defense, start of the week on defense. I think that the Giants are going to be in trouble with Bill Belichick. Giants run D is also a little banged up this week. We like Ramondre Stevenson as a solid RB2. Steelers run D versus Joe Mixon is banged up. Bengals pass D is dealing with a bunch of injuries. Look for Deontay Johnson and George Pickens to take care of that. Panthers defense overall six score 75. I really like Derrick Henry in that matchup. Cardinals defense is dealing with some few injuries as a cluster as well. Look for the Matthew Stafford, and I really like Kyron Williams to take advantage of that. Browns defense is 71.9. That's big time news for that Browns game versus the Denver Broncos. If you need a Russell Wilson start, knowing that the Browns pass D is banged up is key. Bills pass D is one of the most banged up defenses in football. Look for the Eagles to capitalize on that. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith in your laps. And the last one is the Raiders defense is starting to deal with some injuries, but with Max Crosby back, look for that to be a difference maker for those guys. All right, let's get everybody back in the show here. Matt, congratulations. You've been promoted to head seat, my friend. Let's get things rolling.
Let's jump back into it. So somebody accused Zach Goody as being my burner earlier. Derek, I won't mention any names. You are incorrect. Godwin or Downs, full PPR, Derek?
Downs for me. We talked about Godwin already, have some reservations, and there are some scenarios where he's a good play, but we also talked about the Colts going against that Bucs secondary, and we all love Downs all year. So I'm going Downs today, more likely to win this matchup.
I gotta hope that Downs is healthy. He apparently got a knee injury in the offseason. It's been lingering. He re-aggravated it, and he's played behind Isaiah McKenzie over the last 2 weeks. So I'm hoping when he comes out of the bye, he could take advantage of this matchup. That being said, I have no idea. I have not heard any news about his knee. They say it's going to be an ongoing issue. I just hope he gets out there and plays. So I'm hoping the bye week healed him up. I'll take the matchup. I'll take Downs, but it is risky.
That's three of us for Downs. I think more than anything else, we just don't know that we can trust Godwin to get any type of yardage, and he's not lighting up it's not the Tom Brady, Chris Godwin show anymore with 14, 15 targets and 11 catches. So I think all three of us are going to go with Downs today. Micah is back. Half PPR, Derek. Need one wide receiver. Hollywood, Amari, Rashee Rice, Rashid Shaheed. Note on Hollywood Brown, he is dinged and is trending downward. Health-wise, we don't know if he's going to play. While you answer, I'll look it up and see what the latest is.
Yeah, so I've already stated that there's very few scenarios where I'm going to consider Amari Cooper. This is not one of them, so he's out for sure. I do like Shaheed, but more as a wide receiver or second flex option. So I actually, out of narrowing down between Brown and Rice, I actually like Rice with both Kadarius Toney out and Hardman now on IR. And really, I know it doesn't feel like it, but the Chiefs are kind of in a must-win situation. So I expect them to really rally around. Oh, McKinnon's out as well. So I expect them to rally around their playmakers. And, of course, that starts with Kelsey, Pacheco. But I also see Rice being the beneficiary of those added opportunities. So I'm going to go with Rice, and I actually feel pretty comfortable with that.
So I know the slot versus wide matchup chart does say that the Raiders are an out wide funnel defense. I will say this, without McKinnon and the other receivers in this game, the Raiders allow the 5th most yards after the catch per game this season. That's Rashid Rice all day. I'm going to go Rashid Rice here.
Does Watson scare you at all, knowing how many targets he got last week?
Does he scare? I actually have him in my DFS lineup. Not scare me. I think that it's Mahomes, man. If Mahomes can't support 2 guys behind Kelsey, I mean, right now, Brown's injury, Cooper's situation, maybe Rashid Shaheed is the play, but like it's kind of the same scenario. I mean, like if in theory, because of the injuries, because of the matchup, I'm going to go Rashid Rice.
Yeah, the Chiefs really need a get right game, and this one lines up for it. They got to go to Green Bay. They have Buffalo, New England after that before the Raiders again. So they've got a tough stretch coming up, and they really need some momentum moving forward. And this is the week to do it. This could be even a catching game for them where the Raiders could sneak up and make it a game. That wouldn't surprise me at all either. But in the end, it's going to be Mahomes slinging it, and Rice again should be a beneficiary.
Yeah, so I think we're all out on Cooper for reasons we stated earlier. Rashid Shaheed is a boom or bust. He could be 15 points on 1 catch or 0. Marquise Brown is trending towards playing, but he does have a questionable tag. So I guess by default, I'm going to go with Rice as well. The part that scares me about Rashid Rice is even though he is clearly the best wide receiver for Kansas City, they just do not have a significant amount of plays where he's the first look, at least that I've seen. But Derek mentioned it. Kadarius Toney out, Jerick McKinnon out, and McCole Hardman to IR. So they're down to what they've got left, and we know that it's not Sky Moore. I wouldn't be shocked if Sky Moore has more targets just because that's the way my fantasy season has gone for the team where I have Rashid Rice. But the 3 of us are agreeing that Rashid Rice is the play today. And interestingly enough, the next question comes from one of our own teams. So, Bob, I'm going to turn it over to you. Derek and I are contractually obligated to not answer this question.
Nice.
Because we asked it.
Yeah, Ramondre versus Rice is probably the narrow down here. I think, I kind of like the Ramondre Stevenson matchup against the Giants today. I think that the injuries to the Giants front and them trading Leonard Williams away earlier this season leads me to believe I think Stevenson's going to be the play. I think the Patriots defense is going to keep this game ugly, but I think Stevenson's going to be the guy, and I think I'm going to go Stevenson.
And is that for you based on volume or game script, or what has you lean in that direction? Mac Jones being back under center? What is it?
It's the adjusted line yards matchup is already top 10, right? So it's already a top 10 matchup there, but now you're taking away Dexter Lawrence. Like there's Giants front, it's Dexter Lawrence. Like he's the guy, and he's out this week. So you're taking away the best interior defensive lineman. We traded the other one, and now you're taking away the guy. He's like our closest thing that we have to Chris Jones is Dexter Lawrence. And we don't talk a lot about interior defensive linemen. That's who the Giants have, and he's out. So I just think the Patriots are going to be able to run the football. They already have a top 10 matchup this week going into the week anyway. So I think Ramondre Stevenson is going to smash it. And I just don't expect the Patriots against Tommy DeVito to just dominate them defensively. And that just means that they're going to be able to run a lot. And I think Stevenson's going to get a majority of that work.
All right, Derek. So let's hope for your sake, because you made this decision for us, and my sake, because I really want to support you moving forward, that Bob is correct. So we will go with Ramondre. Bob, put your seatbelt on. Are you ready for this? Frank Abate, $10 donation to the cause for good sports. Much appreciated. And on top of that, he's just simply thanking us. No question. Frank, throw all your questions in at the bottom. Let's see how we can help you. But that warms my heart, right? We're in the holiday season. By the way, real quietly, the wife is out front doing a lot of cleaning and rearranging. So I don't know what I'm going to see when I finish the podcast. So if we go 6 or 8 hours today, I'm good. I would just prefer to be kind of hidden away for the rest of the day. So, Frank, thank you from me, from Bob, from Derek, and from Sky, from all the folks at Razzball. We much appreciated. That's a classy move, and we're here for it. All right, let me scroll back up and see where we're at. Daniel, he liked the music that Sky was handing out. And look at this from Micah, Bob. What do you think about this? You're the boss. You can give us handles. The Quad Fathers. Derek, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, that's a thumbs up.
I'm in as well. We'll text that one to Sky.
Strong thumbs up there, Micah.
Yeah, I think Sky would give a thumbs up as well.
I'm in.
Interesting, Bob. We're going to come back to some Bijan and Ramondre. Derek, I'll turn this over to you. I know you mentioned at the top of the show that you want the reins off of Bijan. You want him to be let loose. So in this matchup today against the Saints, do you like him or do you like the Giants matchup for Ramondre? And Bob, put in your back pocket the adjusted lines yard metric for us as well when it gets to you.
Yeah, I don't, I really don't hate either one of these, but Bijan gives you the biggest upside. And I guess, like I said earlier, I expect that the Falcons have learned that their success runs through their running back, their young running back. So, give me Bijan here and expect about it, assuming this is a PPR, because what other kind of leagues are there, right, Matt?
Amen.
Give me about 18 for Bijan today.
Matchup says Stevenson all day, but I'm not going to fade Bijan. I'm going to go Bijan Robinson in that game. I like Stevenson as if you're dealing with like the fringe players like we were before. But I'm not going to sit Bijan for Stevenson.
Yeah.
That makes 3 of us. I'm going to go with Bijan. And we're looking at Adam. Is this a first time, long time for us? I don't recognize the name. Adam Puliti, which means he's got DeVito in his starting lineup.
It's got to be first time and or long time because we're not sure. We're like, it could have been a long time. It could have been. It's true. You are. I forgot. You know what? My bad. My bad.
But you're right.
You're
right. It is first time, pause, or long time. And they can correct us if they want. But that's 3 of us for Bijan today. But we do not hate the start of Ramondre Stevenson, for the record. Marsh Lamb, this feels like a first time or long time. Half PPR, Jalen Warren, Chris Olave. This is the 4th time I think we've received question that has both of these players in it. Derek?
Yeah, we have yet to find a scenario where we're playing Olave over someone else, and we've seen other scenarios where we're higher on Warren, and being a half PPR just even tilts it further towards Warren. So, yeah, I'm Warren here all day.
Same.
So, Marsh, we're going to go. All 3 of us are going to go with Warren over Olave. Again, Bob, get comfortable. Look who's back. The family trade guy, Dylan Fink. We never heard back if he pulled off the trade with his sister or not. We thought for sure we'd get some updates because they were going to do some Thanksgiving dinner, right, as a family out there in Baltimore, and we were going to hear back. So we don't know yet. We'll start with what's up, right? That's the old Budweiser commercial. Again, like Sky always mentions, not a sponsor, but shout out. Few start sit, so let's take a deep breath. All full PPR, because Derek, there's only one type of league, right? Full PPR. Number 1, let's go in order. Pick one flex. Hollywood, Downs, Hunt, James Cook. Quickly,
it's going to be Downs for me, followed by Hollywood. Those would be my top 2.
I just like it. Just be so easy. It's Downs matchup. Downs. The injury to Jamel Dean. It makes a ton of sense. Something's going on with his knee, and I don't feel comfortable with him right now. It's just like it just feels like we're gonna pick him, and then he's gonna play behind Isaiah McKenzie for the 3rd week in a row. But I'm gonna say Josh Downs, and I hate it. It is what it is.
And that's okay, right? We tend to lean towards telling you if we don't love the pick, but what the analytics say. So the analytics say clearly it's Downs. So 3 of us are going to tell you Downs. At least 2 of us are going to say we don't love it. Derek may love it. I don't know that he does. I think the better player is probably Hollywood Brown, but he has not shown that connection with Kyler Murray this season, and he's a little bit dinged. So the three of us will go downs. Number 2, pick one wide receiver, still full PPR. DJ Moore, who Bob just absolutely loves, or Calvin Ridley, who had a great week 11. Oh, we're raising the roof for DJ Moore. That's one raise the roof.
Yeah, my boy.
So that's a Monday night matchup against Minnesota in Minnesota, or Ridley in what Derek has coined as a possible offensive shootout against the Texans.
Yeah, I recall a few weeks back we saw a resurgence of interest from Fields to DJ Moore, and it turned out really well for DJ Moore owners. And Monday Night Football, I expect to see more of that. So give me more DJ.
Yeah, Bob, do I even have to ask you?
No.
Do you want to just say it? You want to say it once during the show? What's his name?
DJ Moore. DJ Moore is the guy I'm going to pick.
I'm going to go DJ Moore as well. Ridley could be a one-hit wonder with his week 11. I do trust what Derek said, that I think the Houston-Jacksonville game is going to be a lot of passing, a lot of scoring. But oftentimes when we say that on the show, we then see a 13-9 game. So you'd never know in the NFL. Their script is already written. We just don't know what it says. So DJ Moore. All right, number 3, one running back, again, full PPR, Jerome Ford, Devin Singletary, or, oh my goodness, this must be, Dylan and Bob must be somehow distant relatives. A James Conner question as well.
Love it.
Ford, Singletary, or Conner? Derek.
Yeah, I don't hate Conner, but I'm leaning Ford here against the Broncos.
That is a smash play. That is probably the right play. I'm going to go James Conner, though.
But truth be told, right? You're playing James Conner because you have to. Your heart says that you've invested so much time, energy, and attention to James Conner that you feel obligated to start him.
No, it has everything to do with the fact that that Browns running offense. It's just the Browns Broncos just seems like 13-10 game, and they're going to get 12 carries. He split work evenly with Kareem Hunt. It was Hunt and Ford last week, 12 and 12. And he found the end zone, which is great. I think Connor's just, if you watch Connor, he's just a really good running back. And I just think that Rams game is a little bit more juice to it. That's why I lean Connor. And yes, I'm also contractually obligated to say James Conner.
Yes. So I think that if I had to make this choice, I would be stuck between Ford and Connor as well. I did not know the 12 and 12 split. I didn't think it was that close to 50-50. So Bob, you've convinced me in your 15-second diatribe. So I think I'll go James Conner as well. Derek, you still sticking with Ford, or did Bob change?
No, I'm sticking there. But like I said, I don't hate Conner by any means, but I like Ford a little better.
All right, last one for this question for Dylan. Number 4, full PPR, Odell, Amari Cooper, who we can scratch off. None of us are playing Amari Cooper. Ty Chandler or Keaton Mitchell. And remember, Dylan is in Baltimore. So he's got 2 Baltimore guys, which means we can probably throw out Ty Chandler and go between Odell and Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, for this one, I'm going to play a little strategy game. So we've got the Ravens playing tonight, and we've got the Bears-Vikings playing tomorrow. So first of all, yes, Cooper's out. I'm not going to go with Odell either. So to me, it's either between Chandler and Mitchell. So I'm going to see where I'm at tonight before the Sunday night game. If I feel pretty safe, then I'm going to go the upside of Mitchell. I don't think he's going to, we've already talked about Gus, and he seems to find the end zone, but there's a little something there with Mitchell, and against the Chargers, he might find some room to run, catch a swing pass or 2 out, and make something happen with it. So he seems like a play that maybe a high upside play, but a pretty low floor. So if I feel pretty good tonight after the 4 o'clock games, I'm going to throw in Mitchell and shoot for the moon. If I feel I need to play it safer, then I'm going to go Chandler against the Bears. So that's how I'm approaching this one.
I got to tell you, yeah, Mitchell looked good last week playing against the Broncos. The Broncos' run defense is terrible. I think this week they're playing the Bears. The Bears' run defense is legit, but they're very weak against pass-catching running backs, and Chandler had 4 catches last week. But I'm going to lean matchup. It's Odell's shoulder injury. I don't know what the deal is. Like, he's probably one bad hit away from not playing. So I'm just going to play it safe. I'm going to go Mitchell, top 10 defensive adjusted line yards matchup this week. And I think he's got the explosion against the Chargers run defense. So I think he'll be good. And I'm going to go Mitchell.
And I'm going to lean Mitchell as well for most of what Bob said. I do like Derek's approach, right? Your gut will tell you what you need to do prior to the Sunday night game going. Let's hope you don't have to make a decision or you don't have to care. And you can just put in your Raven player because that's what you really want to do. And remind me, do we remember back? Was he trying to acquire Mitchell in one of those trades? I don't remember. We'll have to wait to hear from him. But something tells me he was trying to deal them or didn't want to deal them because he's a Ravens fan. So we'll see. All right, next set of questions from Dylan. DST, Denver, or Tennessee? Derek?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with the Denver defense. They've been playing a lot better, really, ever since that shellacking against Miami. They found something there. So, and we know the Browns don't have a lot of firepower right now. So, give me the Denver defense at home against the Browns. If it is a low scoring slug out game, then I would I think the home field advantage is going to even help a little bit more. So give me Denver defense there. And I'll defer on the kicker question to Bobby.
That's nice. I'm going to go. Wow, Tennessee is like that weird. Let me just pull up some real quick. Sorry.
It feels like Tennessee is not even relevant in the league anymore. Like, we don't talk about any of their players. We don't even see them on the schedule. They just seem kind of invisible these days.
I like the Titans defense has like Jeffrey Simmons as like this insane defensive tackle. And they have these weird games where if you don't have an elite passing offense, they have a decent enough pass rush and they're good enough against the run. And that's when you can play the Titans defense. So I'm not scared off. The Panthers pass offense is probably perfectly set up to make the Titans a good start on defense. So I'm going to go there. Kicker wise, Chase McLaughlin's my start of the week. I'm playing him. If I had to pick between Dicker and Joseph, let's see what we got here. Joseph's Minnesota. They're way down there against Chicago. It would be Dicker. So I'm going to go Chase McLaughlin as my start of the week. But if you had to pick between Dicker and Joseph, I'm going to go Dicker at home versus Baltimore.
Interesting. I'm going Denver, and we currently are starting Joseph, but I may go to the wire or may ask Derek to pull up his phone in League One.
You don't have Chase McLaughlin?
We'd have to go look. I'll look after
He's got to be out there. He's like,
so?
He's got to be out there.
All right. So let me get to the next question, and I will pull it up.
Actually, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong tab. That's my fault. Go back, rewind. Greg Joseph is actually a very good start this week. I apologize. I don't know why. I was looking at the defensive tab. That was weird. Yeah, he's a top 8 matchup for me this week. I like Greg Joseph. He's actually a solid start. He's actually only 2 spots behind Chase McLaughlin.
And you like him over – you have Dicker below both of them.
Dicker's way down there. Baltimore's a tough defense for kickers.
Okay. All right, from Beach, would you all start Shakir or Khalil Herbert over Godwin? I believe Beach is in a full PPR league.
No, it's going to be Godwin for me. Again, just because it's a full PPR and, we expect some shootout here in that game. So give me Godwin. I'll roll the dice.
Yeah, I'm going to actually go Khalil Herbert.
I'm going Khalil Herbert as well. Deontay Foreman is out. Roshan Johnson has not proven to be what we want him to be, so I'm going to go with a volume play with Khalil Herbert. All right, we've got about 10-ish minutes before we're going to go ahead and get out of here. So, are you guys ready for rapid fire?
Yeah. Looks like Frank Abbott put in a question after his super chat. We missed it.
He certainly did. All right, so Frank Abate, Devontae Parker or Sky Moore, no more waivers dealing with injuries. Oof. Derek, enjoy this one.
Yeah, well, give me Sky Moore. Like I said, they've got 3 pass catchers out of their 30 that they have on the roster out today, so it just paves a little pathway, a little more for Sky Moore. So yeah, give me Sky Moore. I'm not going with that New England offense.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. What is the the matchup says. The Giants' pass defense has been terrible. I'll take a shot on Parker. Why not?
Yeah, I'm going Sky Moore because I think Rashee Rice should be getting more targets, and then it'll probably end up to be Sky Moore and Justin Watson. So my gut says that it's going to be Sky Moore. So Frank, thank you again for the donation. It goes to good folks, and we appreciate that. Now back to Fantasy Football Shorts. They gave us a super chat donation as well. Did we get to their question? I believe we did. We went with Nico Collins, correct?
Correct.
All right. So Beach is back. Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud, Justin Fields need one.
Stroud for me.
Stroud.
Stroud for me. So that's a 3.
We already did that one, I thought. Okay.
Tyler Ohlmeyer. Sounds like first time, possibly long time. Full PPR, pick 2, Singletary, Ford, Sutton, Pacheco.
Yeah, I'll take 2 running backs here. I'll go with Ford and Pacheco.
Pacheco's an auto, and for me, I love Pacheco today. Do I go with Sutton with Denzel Ward out? I think I kind of like it. Yeah, I'm going to go Ford and Pacheco.
Yeah, I'm going Ford and Pacheco as well, mainly because Denver is facing the Cleveland defensive backfield. All in one show. Another seems like first time, possibly long time. JT, I believe that's Jonathan Taylor, Olave, or Puka at flex, full PPR, Derek.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see the rest of his lineup then. But yeah, give me JT in the flex.
Man, I do not want to sit Puka today.
Yeah, I do love Puka as well. I will grant you that. But
he's got Tampa. Tampa's not have Volante David today. Do I care? I am going to go Puka. I'm starting Puka. Full PPR. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you all know how much I love Puka, but I'm going Jonathan Taylor in this matchup. All in one, if you're still listening, which we know you are, throw us the rest of your lineup at the bottom, and let's see if we can finagle a way to get both JT and Puka in your lineup. Jamie, good morning to you. Good to see you checking in. A little bit later than normal, but good to have you here nonetheless. Jamie is trying to fit Downs into his lineup. Would you start him over Godwin, Christian Kirk, or Joe Mixon? We'll have to assume half PPR, even though I think Jamie's in full PPR.
Yeah, so for me, I'm inserting Downs into Kirk's position. So I'll sit Kirk and play Downs.
This is terrible. All right, I'm just going to throw out a bunch of information. I don't even know what to say. Downs, like I talked about this a million times with the knee injury, worried about that. Chris Godwin's matchup against the Colts has not – actually, the Colts over the last 6 weeks have been good against out wide receivers, but they're missing a couple outside cornerbacks, but they've been good for some reason. They're a heavy zone team, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. Kirk's got a good matchup, but has not played well with Zay Jones. And then Joe Mixon's no Joe Burrow, but he's got a decent matchup against a banged-up Pittsburgh defense. So I would probably just keep Downs on my bench just to see if the knee is better. But if I'm going to go by matchups, I would sit Godwin.
Probably the same way. If he wants to really get Downs in his lineup, then I would start him over Godwin. So that's 2 Godwins and 1 Kirk. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. So this feels like it could be my neighbor. We have the leaves starting to fall. My pool does not have the cover on it yet, so all I've got is water with leaves, and it's choking the it's constantly. So I'm out there all day trying to scoop leaves. But leaves and pool problems may be a comment that people use for like first world problems. I'm guessing that's what that leads me to. Full PPR. 2 wide receiver and a flex, Derek. So we're going to go 3 total players. 2 of them must be wide receivers. Diggs, Tank Dell, AJ Brown, DJ Moore, Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
The
I want to play
caller
all
is
5.
feeling Diggs, Dell, and DJ Moore. Is it nuts to sit AJ Brown and Kamara based on matchups?
Yeah, this is definitely first world problems. I want to play all 5 of these guys. Playing Dell for sure. I'm going to go Diggs and Kamara are going to be the other 2 I play. I'll sit Brown and DJ Moore against my better judgment. But I want Kamara in the lineup. Especially the car behind center.
Yeah, I'm gonna play Diggs, AJ Brown, and Kamara.
And I'm with Bob. As much as I want to get Tank Dell in there, I don't know. I don't know how in your right mind you can sit AJ Brown. Or in my right mind, I can't sit AJ Brown.
The other thing, just to say, I like the fact you're bringing this to the table. Dell has proven to be a solid borderline wide receiver 1. DJ Moore with Justin Fields is a borderline wide receiver 1. Those guys should be in play if Diggs, AJ Brown, and Kamara have really bad matchups. But the problem is they don't. Like the Bills and the Eagles are playing against each other, and they're both secondaries are banged up and or getting destroyed by wide receivers. So Diggs and AJ Brown are in. Kamara's playing against the Falcons, who are an average run defense right now, but they actually are very vulnerable against pass-catching running backs, which is Alvin Kamara all day. So I do like the question. Keep bringing them every week because there's going to be a week where, Kamara might face a top 5 run defense, and you might want to fade him, and then those guys have a good matchup. So I like the idea, but this is not the week.
Yep. All right. So we're going to have to get out of here really quick. So we're going to go rapid fire Lindorphins. No questions. Wanted to say good luck to everybody. Thank you for checking in. Murph is back. Feel like Eagles will ground and pound. Falcons tough versus.
I'm going to say you meant running backs.
Running backs in fantasy points allowed. Okay. But Bob gave you our analysis. We're sticking to it. That's the same thing. Thank you. You're welcome. Jefferson, one of our writers, is checking in. Half point PPR for running back 2 spot. Bijan, Pacheco, Ford, and then same flex running back options or Puka. Derek, real quick.
Damn.
Yeah, I hate to go away from Pacheco, but I'm going to go Bijan and then Puka in the flex.
Oh. Pacheco with Jerick McKinnon this week against the Raiders. I am going to go Bijan and I'm going to go Puka too, even though that sucks.
Yeah, same for me.
D-Mont.
Bijan and Pacheco for me. Started Montgomery on Thanksgiving. I'm about tired of him because I like Gibbs better, but that's okay. Micah coming in at the end. Half PPR need 1 flex. Singletary, Najee, Hollywood, Amari, and Shaheed. We've already marked Amari Cooper off the list. Probably Najee Harris as well. So Singletary, Brown, or Shaheed?
Give me Singletary, even though he doesn't have the full workload like he did, last week. I'll still take Singletary in that game that should be high scoring.
Najee Harris for me.
Oof. I'm going to lean Singletary as well. DJ Wavy, Singletary, Ford, Connor, Edwards, standard, pick 2. So you need touchdowns and yards.
Yeah, give me Not Singletary. So give me Ford and Connor. Ford and Connor.
Damn. Edwards and Ford.
It's Edwards and Ford for me only because Edwards is the goal line back. All right, Frank, he's checking in. We got his question answered. Checking right back in. Skylar Hammers, great name. Half point PPR. Pick one running back. Tajay, Madison, Keaton, Mitchell.
Give me. I'd have to say Madison. I want to say Mitchell. Give me Madison. Madison's a safer play. Mitchell for the upside.
I'm probably gonna go. Man, I want to say Tajay Spears against Carolina. That's a smash game. I just think Derrick Henry's going to get every touch he can get. I'm going to go Mitchell.
I'm going to go Mitchell. I want it to be Spears. Jefferson, great show as usual. Appreciate it. All right, boys, last one. We've got just a couple of minutes. Murph is back in at the end. Full PPR, Gus or Pacheco?
Pacheco for me.
Pacheco. So that's 3 for 3. Pacheco, and we're out the door, Bob. Get us out of here.
Yeah, man. 3 minutes left, folks. We appreciate you jumping on the show again and join us on our Sunday live show. Make sure you join us on Tuesday. We're going to be breaking down. I'm not sure yet. I think we're going to do we're going to do handcuffs maybe. I'm not sure yet what we're going to do for Tuesday's show, but join us. Bring your questions for the week. We're excited to break that down on Tuesday. Make sure you go to the football.razzball.com. Check out all the great articles as well from Derek. You can follow him on Twitter at Derek_Favre and Matthew Styles at Styles08. And go follow that other guy, Sky Guasco at Sky Guasco, and myself at Bobby Lamarco on Twitter. Thank you for joining us once again. And shout out to Good Sports, charity organization. We donate 10% of all donations to them. So shout out to our sponsor and one of our partners, Good Sports. Thank you for once again, folks. We are out of here.